Now we're going to begin to thread the beads together and create our tracks. We want to begin by making sure that the thread is even in the needle. Make sure it's nice and smooth and that there is a knot at the end of the thread. Remove the hair from the pin curl. Introduce your needle from the top of the bead. Bring it all the way through, leaving out about 3 to 4 inches of the tail of the thread so you can later on tie it together. Bring your thread over your hand, insert the needle through the bead. In the middle of the loop, you'll pull through. This will create your knot on the bead. Smooth the hair. Make sure that there are no hairs that are straggling in through the bead, any side hair. Use your tail comb at this time where you can make sure to have smooth the hair that's underneath and between the bead, any stragglers that came from the sides or from the top of the head. Smooth all that out. Then you'll use your pliers and press firmly off base and centered 3 times. Check up and down, make sure that there's no discomfort in the hair and that there is no individual stragglers pulling on the hair. Here you'll take the side hair and insert your needle through that side hair and bring the thread through the side hair. Move on to the next one. Smooth the hair, check for any stragglers. Bring the bead up to the scalp. Bring your thread over your hand. Insert the needle through. Notice that the thread is over my hand, and all we're doing is introducing the thread at this time. Next, you'll bring your thread over your hand again, and the needle goes in through the center loop to help create the knot. Smooth the hair once again, making sure that there are no stragglers with your tail comb. Check the sides, top and bottom. Bring the bead close to the scalp, off base. Make sure the hair is smooth before you close it with your plier. Check up and down. Bring your needle to the side hair. Remember, not through the bead, but through that side hair. Pull it through, and now we'll move on to our next bead. Smooth the hair, bring the bead up. Remember to keep control of your thread. This part is really important, both checking for any side hair, any stragglers that might be pulling from the subsection that was before. And here we want to make sure that the thread is over our hand. We introduce the thread and the needle. Second time through the bead will be with the thread over our left hand. The needle goes in through the center of the loop, and that's what helps create the knot on the bead. Pull the hair nice and smooth. Check for any stragglers. Bring the bead up to the center and to the scalp. Close the bead off base, and centered. Take the needle, go through the side hair. This helps create the bridge to the next bead. Grab your next beaded hair, bring the bead up to the scalp, smooth the hair, make sure there's no stragglers. Then you will bring your thread over your hand, insert the needle through the top, keeping the hair nice and smooth, insert through the top. Notice that the needle does not go through the center of the thread, it just goes through the side of it. Now it will go through the center of the loop. This will help create that second knot, or the first initial knot. Smooth the hair. Grab your tail comb and get any little hairs that might be stragglers out of the way. Keep it centered and off base. Double check, make sure that there are no hairs pulling on the client. Take your needle in through the side hair, pull it through, and this will create the bridge to the next section. This entire portion should take between 10 to 15 minutes. Next bead, thread is over your hand, needle through the side of the thread. Next one will be needle through the center of the loop. So bring your thread over to the left of your hand. Once you smooth that hair out, and through the center of the loop, pull it through to create the knot. Make sure that there are no stragglers. Check with your tail comb. Once that is smooth, you can grab your pliers, clip 3 times, nice and tight, centered and off base. Grab your needle once again, keep control of your thread, get through the side hair, pull the needle through. Always keeping control with your left hand, the thread, so it's not pulling or hurting the client. Smooth it through, move on to the next one. Grab the hair, bring the bead up to the center scalp, smooth the hair. Thread is over your left hand, needle goes through the bead. To introduce the thread, over your left hand, needle in through the center, pull through to create the knot. Take your tail comb, check for any stragglers, any side hair, any over-directed hair that might be caught. Bring it to the center, off base, use your plier, clip 3 times. Grab your needle and your thread, take control of the thread to avoid any pulling on the hair, and go through the side hair. Remember, never through the bead or behind the bead. That will cause a lot of tension and can create traction alopecia on the client. Next section, smooth the hair, bring the bead up, take control of your thread and your needle. Thread is always over your left hand, making sure that there are no side hairs. Smooth the section. Bring the thread over your left hand. Introduce your needle. Thread goes over that hand. Pull the needle through. Thread over the left hand. Needle goes in through the bead once more in the center loop. That is the loop. Pull it through. Creating the knot. Smooth any hairs with your tail comb or your needle. Tail comb is preferred until you get used to it. Once everything is on the clear, you'll go ahead, smooth one more time, center your bead, close with your plier 3 times, check the hair for any discomfort. Take control of your thread and your needle on your left hand. With your right hand, go through the right side of the bead, through the side hair. Pull the thread through. That begins the bridge for the next section. This is the last bead. You'll do the same thing and you will end the same way. Smooth the hair, make sure that there are no stragglers. Bring the bead up to the scalp. Take control of the thread over your left hand. Bring the bead back up to the scalp. Introduce the needle through the center of the bead. Notice that I pulled the thread over my left hand so I can introduce that needle through first. Pull the needle through. Bring the thread over to your left hand. This will help create that loop. Bring the needle in through the bead into the center of the thread, through that loop. Pull it through to create the knot. Smooth any stragglers. Using your tail comb, make sure that there is no side hair that's being pulled from any other direction or from the top. Once that's complete, bring your plier to close the bead 3 times, off base and centered. And you'll finish this section by creating the side hair bridge. Now you're ready to install the wefts.